Hello, everyone. I am Sonia Nadina Haynes. I am one of the psychics. You could call me intuitive. You could call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner on Psychic.biz. And we are on Psychic.biz Live. Today, Aeson Knight and Angel Rose. Am I got my
Correct.
Yes, thank you. I only see Angel on your thing, so I have to double check. Angel Rose, we are talking about how to align yourself to ask the appropriate question from your reader. Because sometimes we show up and you show up and you know you want to ask something, but you don't know how to go about phrasing the question so that you can have an answer that works for you. And I've had people come in who have asked questions, and when I try to give them answers, they get very frustrated. So, we're going to talk about asking questions. I've been on the side where I've been the one asking the questions and not quite sure how to phrase it. So, Aeson, how do you feel about this question alignment sort of thing?
Well, in general, I read Q&A style. There's a lot of readers who have different styles. You have the story readers who come in and they do this long, drawn-out general reading, which is great. It's their style. And, they'll talk about this and that and this and that, but they never get right. You don't get the chance to really sit down and say, okay, I really just want to know, is John going to be calling, or is Susie going to get the job, or that type of thing. So for me and my style of reading, a question reading is really best, because because you have two different. I have two different styles. When I'm on the network, I really just do questions, question and answer. When you see me in public, I do a general, and then I do question and answer. But both of those styles are the same thing. Example, I'll have a client come and sit down or call me up and they go, tell me about my love life. And,
Which one?
Oh my goodness, how many minutes do you have?
Shall we go back to your high school boyfriend and how he was a dork and move forward?
Before you were born? Previous lifetimes? How far back do you want to go?
And I have to redirect them to, okay, I read Q&A, that's a subject, what's our question? And, they get kind of a little bit confused there. What about you, Angel Rose? How about you? Because,
I just love this question because it's such an appropriate question. The way that I have found is the most effective, and I've gotten amazing compliments, so I'm kind of excited, is that there's what is called a close-ended and an open-ended question. A close-ended is a yes-no type of a question where you ask the question, you either give a yes or a no kind of an answer. And an open-ended question is where you ask a question and then you want to have some more information about it. So am I going to have a boyfriend, yes or no? Can you tell me a little bit more about what he will be like and where it's going? That's more open-ended. And what I found out is when I first start with new people, I always like to have them ask a yes-no question first because it allows me the ability to tune in a little bit more efficiently to the beings that I work with and their spirit guides. And then they start talking and I start sharing messages. When I have someone that I've been working with, I already have an idea about their energy, so I usually start off with, let me see if there's any messages they want me to give you first, if that's okay with you, and then if I don't hear anything right away, I tell them to ask a yes, no, or I get right into, if there is messages, what the messages are. So, and I found that people really love it because sometimes they don't know what to ask. And a lot of times it puts them in a very uncomfortable place. So if I guide them, it helps them to not only feel comfortable, but also to be able to feel a connection that gives them more confidence on how to move forward in their life.
Right.
And I also always tell them when it comes to time, don't ask the when, because whenever you ask the when, it'll delay it because there's a limitation attached to it, as bingo, as I have eloquently done in the last show. But when you get into not asking the when and the universe tells you, then it's usually about almost 100% accurate, because it's coming from a direct message rather than asking from a limiting perspective. And there's more of a flow and a receptivity going on. And so I found that time types of questions aren't effective. People get very frustrated.
Well, that's understandable. With me, it's a little different because, first, Spirit doesn't have time. That's a
exactly
creation. So for me, when I give time periods, I have to estimate, okay, event A takes about 30 seconds. So this person entering this picture will be occurring within this time frame. And people get confused with it because, when's he going to call? And I say, oh, probably in about 2 weeks. And they're like, what? He's not going to talk to me for 2 weeks?
See, you get yourself set up, because if he changes his mind since he has free will and calls sooner, you screwed yourself.
They don't hear that word within.
Within, I know, I didn't even hear it. So it's kind of like, see, that's why that question is such a, you just proved it. It's such a dangerous question, because if they don't call, you get screwed. If they do call, they want to know more about the whens. And it's just comical. It's like such a comical question. But it's really, it's nice to be able to, like, I read seasons, so they'll show me it in seasons, like, and I'll usually say if I get something, it's like I'm seeing like a cold month, so it could happen between this time and this time. Or sometimes they'll give me a date, which blows me away. And so it does come through. It always blows me when they give me a date, because that's usually like so accurate. I still don't know how they do that, because they have to literally come on the physical plane, figure out a time frame, map a calendar, and give a target date. I mean, that's like, how? It cracks me up.
What about you, Miss Sonia? How does timing work for you? Because every psychic deals with timing differently.
Yeah. I don't, people ask, tell me a name, and I don't trust names because, I don't hear it, a name. I can see the person. If they're asking me about their future love, I can see the person, and I can describe that person, and it usually works out to be that way. But when it comes to time, and I give a quick little story, a young lady called me, asked for a reading, and she asked me, and of course I forget these things, and then they call me back and say, do you remember when? And I have no clue what they're talking about, and I can't even remember having the reading. But apparently I told her that in the spring, in February, such and such would occur, and I must have talked to her in November. So she's waiting for February to come, but the thing that was supposed to happen didn't happen. It happened in February, but not the February she thought would happen. It's the following February. So it's in spirit. They see the seasons. They see, as I said in the show earlier that I was doing today, in spirit, what we think is forever, which is 10 years, in their space, it's a moment.
Exactly.
And so there is no time. We've said that a lot. There is no time.
There is.
Past, present, and future is operating now. And the other part of the question of time is that each of us are shifting and changing. And if we're still attached to a past event, and we're trying, for example, they want to know, I want the love that lasts forever. I want a man who's going to support me. I want a man who, the typical, won't cheat on me. The moment they make that statement, they're attached to the one who cheated on them in the past. Now, they must let go of the imprinting. They must let go of all that old story so that they can meet the man who will not cheat on them. And that is totally dependent on the individual. So if Sally or Jacob does not let go of that past betrayal, when this new person shows up, if they're going to end up with this person coming in, they're going to draw that person with all the fear that they have, and Jacob will then end up, or whomever will end up cheating on them. But actually he didn't. They just think he did, and they'd start harassing and haranguing him till he can't stand it and he walks away. So yeah.
Let's talk about that for a minute. And cheating on, and is he going to cheat? Does he cheat?
Yes, that's a question.
This drives me insane because I've seen people blow up perfectly good relationships.
Yes.
In general, with this fear thing. Because I'm sorry, the FBI should probably track down a few of clients, and a few clients we probably all had that are like, he liked this girl's thing on Facebook. He chatted with this girl on his messenger. He's got an iPhone picture stored on iCloud of him standing beside 3 other women. Which one's he dating against? Which one's he cheating on me with? Or is he cheating on all 3? And I'm like, hello, have you, watched Jerry Springer for too long? Do you love this person?
Yes.
Because if you love him, you've got to have trust with him.
Yes.
And people don't get this.
Yes.
Really, really do not get that idea that it's a total trust factor thing.
Yes.
That it's a total, if you say to him, I saw you like that woman's thing on Facebook, you just told him he cheated. And if you keep telling somebody something, it's like Pavlov's dog.
Yes.
Telling him, he'll go do it just to prove you right.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it, Angel?
I kind of like to focus on the positives. I don't get that many people in the readings that I've done that have asked that. I have gotten questions on that. What I usually find is that when people really are focused in on the connection from their heart, and they're really focusing on getting to know somebody, if they all have any insecurities about that person, or they see red flags, they need to look inside themselves and ask legitimately, why are these red flags coming up for them? Because that could either be something inside of them, or it could be that they're getting warned about something. So I usually don't turn around and say, well, is he cheating or is he not? I usually ask, why are you feeling that way? What's bringing that to your forefront, and see if it's something inside of them that's creating a false illusion, or if it's a legitimate thing, then why are they with that person, rather than making them feel like they're wrong or they're bad. They need to honor their hearts, they need to honor their feelings, and they need to really start taking the risks of seeing what's going on. If it, like Sonia said, if it's a pattern that they're continually attracting people that are cheating on them, then they need to focus more on that rather than, is he cheating on me? They need to find out, why are they continually attracting self-destructive relationships, so they could stop attracting that pattern. So the question isn't about, is he cheating on me? It's more about, why are you feeling like you're attracting that in the first place? So I would redirect the question to find out where this is coming from, and that helps them to feel a little bit more secure about taking responsibility for their life, instead of continuing playing the victim game around it, which is how you eloquently said that's what they're doing. They're creating a victim, and both of you said it in your own words, a victim consciousness, because of either a pattern that they haven't resolved, or a paranoia of insecurity that's literally illegitimate, but there's something inside of them that's creating that pattern.
Right.
So.
And when they create that pattern, or do that pattern, or pull up that pattern, they tend to have a lot of self-aggravation,
Exactly.
Flagellation.
Well, self-flagellation, but here's the thing. They keep creating the same thing. They self-sabotage themselves so many times. And it's so often, because I've listened to Sonia read about people, because I don't normally pull this out unless it really comes and hits me with a brick, who's, maybe their father cheated on their mother, and it's normally men that have this pattern, I see. So when they go into a relationship, they attract women that are natural-born polyamorous or have different ideas of relationships and create that same energy flow because they're still carrying it from back over from when their parents had issues.
Yeah.
See that often, Sonia? Because you're more of the emotional healer person.
Yeah. Well, you know, the statement, the sins of the father gets visited upon the child, and it is so. We can only respond to the world based on what we know. And, you know, as much as we want to go out into the world and say, yes, I am an amazing person, I'm a positive person. If you went through your childhood and you experienced a father, and I had a client whose father cheated on the mother, cheated on her, pretty much that's how she saw it. She was 6, went off and created a new family. And she would always end up drawing into her world a man who looked like her dad, felt like her dad, behaved the same way, and she couldn't figure out why. And this is the thing, you know, you're only going to do what you do until you know better. You cannot change it until you absolutely know the root of it. And so, you know, when she came in and we're talking, she did, I just don't know why this is happening. And I have the ability to see into the past, so I can see what the father is doing or such. And we'd have the conversation, and I'd ask her the question. After she said, "How did you know?" she would then say to me, "Yeah, you know, that's what he did." And just talking about it, just talking about what daddy did to mom and me, and releasing that, causes the person to literally shift. And even if they're in a relationship where the man is so-called cheating, he changes. That's what's so amazing. We have the power to change the present moment that we're in. No matter how terrible it may seem, we have the power to change it now. So in my world, I like the idea of individuals letting go of the past stuff, releasing it, clearing it, but you have to know what you're dealing with. You have to know the patterns you're playing so that you can change it. You cannot shift something. You know, you're lying underneath a ton of bricks, but you don't know that it's bricks. How can you shift it? You can't move it one step at a time, or you can't dig your way out if you don't know what it is. So to me, when they come asking me, you know, will Job cheat on me, I will say to them, look within. Before you throw Job away, stop for a moment and look at what patterns you're carrying, because if you don't clear it, you're going to go back into the exact same thing again. It's very interesting, you know. And the funny thing is, I have another client who, she didn't want this particular thing. Met the guy, he was the sweetest thing. I looked at him, I said, oh boy, because they send me pictures, right? So I said, oh boy. And I tried to tell her, no, he sent me this letter. It was so wonderful. It was so fantastic. Sure enough, within a year, she was up the creek, you know. And so this is the thing. He will show up, and he will energetically morph, and that's when you pull the card and the devil shows up, right? He will energetically morph in the energy that she needs to see. It's not that he's doing it deliberately, but that's just how it works. We are tangled in and attracted to exactly what's going on inside of us, you know?
Very much so. And, you know, something that also pops up, and we talked about this a minute ago, and I keep telling clients, if you want a name, then make sure every man you date wears a name tag.
Yeah, Angel Rose, do you get the names?
Do I get names of, you know, they ask about the names of person? I do periodically, but I don't, if I did, I don't feel comfortable mentioning it because it could be just a symbol, and it ends up setting themselves up if a wonderful guy comes in and he has a similar name and they go, oh, it ain't you because of that name. So I avoid doing things that are very too specific, and kind of lead it more towards, this is what it feels like and this is what I'm seeing. And when I do that, that usually brings in almost 100% accuracy versus this is what they look like, this is how tall they are, this is what their name, you know, the specifics gets everybody in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, for me, and I have got this with people with names because the guy will have a name tag on. He works for a business that he has to wear a name tag. And I had this one client, and I gave her the name. I said, it's Richard. So she calls me back 6 months later after she's gotten into the relationship, and she says, I got into a relationship, it's great, it's wonderful, but you were wrong. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm 87% accurate, I'm not God.
Yeah.
Well, how am I wrong? His name's Bob. I said, really? So what do they call him at work? Richard. And his name's
That's
Bob.
funny.
And I'm like, really? You want to tear this? You want to split the hair?
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting statement that you made. It's funny because one of the things that I've found is that when people come to see me, a lot of times they come seeking answers, but they're also coming in with the intention to kind of knock me off the pedestal, to make sure, to kind of make me wrong, or you know, I'm gonna see if you know what you're talking about. And it's funny because when they go to their doctor, they never go to the doctor and say, doctor, I'm gonna see what you're talking about. I got a pain in my stomach. Are you gonna tell me what it is? Can you? You know, so they do that with people, with intuitives, psychics, whatever we want to call ourselves, which I find very interesting. Why would you come to us, spend your hard-earned money, and then come in with the intention that maybe we don't know what we're talking about? I find that very interesting. You know?
I call it playing test the psychic, and I don't play it.
Yeah. You know.
I kind of like it. You know, I said in my profile that in order for me to give you an accurate reading, that it's very important to be very open in your heart and very positive in your mind, so that the answers that come through are more, in a way, serving you than they are destroying you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I kind of set those boundaries even before we went on air about how important it is to really stay in the very positive person. Because most people that are coming from experiences are coming either because they feel lost, they're confused, they're insecure, they're dealing with some kind of fear. And I don't know, I guess coming from, and you both have the same kind of, my sense is that, I don't know how you do your readings, but just from listening to you, that you come from compassion, is that you want people to leave feeling safe, and you want them to leave feeling loved, and that like they're going to get the best advice that they possibly can. So for me, I've always said that if you want to get as much of an accurate reading, then you have to be part of the process of being open and being positive and being loving. If you come in and you bring all your garbage to the readings, then you're blocking the most accurate answers that could possibly, at least for me, that can possibly come through. And it's not as enjoyable for any one of us. And so I always like to have a positive experience as well as they want to have a positive experience. So if I find that they come into an experience where it's not mutually beneficial, I just honestly say, I'm sorry, I'm not getting a connection, I'm not the appropriate person. And that's only happened, thank God, once in all the years that I've ever done it, where I had to literally say I'm not the appropriate person. And I asked the universe to bring me the most appropriate people, so I don't have to do that anymore. And that's probably why it's more loving. But I don't know. I just love to be around people that choose to really take responsibility for their life, rather than just wanting someone to tell them what to do and then they come back and find fault. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they have to be willing to.
Sonia,
Mm-hmm.
have you had to? I don't have to do that quite often.
Do what?
Send them away. Tell them no.
I never do. I never do. You know, it's funny. I've had people who've come to me and said to me, I thought I was safe with you. And then I started singing that, I beg your pardon, and I promise you a rose garden. They're not supposed to feel safe with me. They're supposed to feel safe with themselves.
Right.
They only come to me so that I can tell them what they already know.
Right.
When anyone shows up, they always, once I've finished talking with them, they always say, yeah, I know, I was thinking that. That's what I was having. That's what I wanted to do when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
I don't promise safety because, it's funny because in the show earlier I talked about trust. I don't promise safety. And if the person who comes to see me, I work from good intention. That's it. I work from the energy of love. That's it. So they can't come into my world looking for safety when there's already safety. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think we're saying the same thing. They want to leave feeling safe, but they have to be able to take the responsibility. They can't expect someone else to give it to them.
Yeah, that, you know, when someone comes to see me, I am pure love. They come in. They're wrapped in warmth. They walked. It's funny because when I'm only 5 foot nothing, and they come to my door and they're looking above my head and then they look down. Oh, I thought you were taller, because talking to me on the phone I seem taller. My energy's feeling taller, and it could be a 6'2", 6'6" guy or a little 5 foot nothing woman. They come in and we are equals. That's how I see it. An individual who comes to me, that person may be my quote-unquote client, but that person isn't. I am, how to explain it? We are the center. You are the center. I am the center of my universe, and everything and everyone around me is reflecting my unconscious belief system. So when that person comes in, I am that individual's wise self. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That I am the person's wise self. So whatever they need to know, I just become the mouthpiece reflecting that back to them, including telling them the tough stuff. I don't deal in wishy-washy, and I don't deal in sweetness and light. I tell it like it is. I share exactly as I see it, and they are better for it because they're not keep coming back looking for sweetness, because sugar will rot your teeth. You know what I mean? But if you get something really nice that doesn't have too much sugar, but it's got some substance, some sustenance, and it supports you, you're happy forever. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I tend to be like the old grandma that's gonna pull you up by your boots, knock you over, brush you off, and send you along, tap you on the butt and send you along the way. I mean, I'm a little bit of a something, but you know, that's pretty much what I am. Yeah.
And see, I'm the same way, and the male perspective of this is a lot of times when I get clients and, you know, we're talking about the issues they're having with their boyfriend or whatever, it's almost like sometimes they want to go into the argument with me. I go, hold it, honey.
Yes.
Hold up. Back it up. You're on the wrong phone call. You need to be talking this with him. But this is how I would approach it. And then also, what happens a lot of times I find is people come looking for the answers, but they're not always willing to accept them because it's not how they set it up. Or they're so scared to ask the questions because of what will come out because they already know the answer.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, it's like recently I had a client, and I swear every time I read for this girl, it was like she was standing behind a wall peeking out like, are you going to And I finally told her, I said, honey, what do you really want to know?
Yes.
What is it that really matters to you? Because we've been on the phone probably 5 times now, and you've been peeking out from that wall you built around the world. And that's when we finally got into the real thing of her dealing with some situations. But something else that kind of rabbled through my head here on things to, you know, bring up about test the psychic or psychic questions. Do y'all guys find when people have been psychic shopping, and they go, well, Sonia said this, and
Yes.
Angel Rose said this.
Uh-huh.
I always say, that's great that they said that. I'm glad you had a reading with them, but I can't see what they saw. My guys aren't going to look back at something you've already read.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all deal with that? What do y'all think about when they get 5, 6, 10, 100, 3,000 readings on the same subject? For me, it's always I have to fight to find the energy.
Well, you know what? Before we jump into that, I find this kind of fascinating because it really makes sense that you'll attract the kind of advice you're giving. I'm always honest with my advice, and when I see things, that I always want to do it in the most loving and nurturing and positive way that'll make them feel comfortable in order to make their decision without destroying their self-worth. So for me, my advice giving is always accurate, and I don't leave things out. I mean, I say the exact name, but for you, I guess it's a little different because you're seeing it. Unless I say something to the effect of, this is what I'm seeing, but don't hold on to it being just that. Stay open to the possibility. But when it comes to I never want to throw anybody under the bus. If I don't agree with somebody else, I'm never going to say, well, that's not the way it's supposed to be, you're wrong, or I just don't believe in throwing people under the bus.
Right.
And so if somebody says something, well, this person said that, then my answer would be, at that time it may have been the most perfect answer for you to hear that was necessary at that time. And then I just immediately will change the subject, because I guess my style of reading is I treat people how I want to be treated. I don't want to be treated where I walk away feeling more insecure or more fearful or more paranoid or more of this. I want to feel like she cares, and I enjoyed it, and I'm not scared that she's going to tell me something's going to freak me out. So I just have a different way of doing it. Does that mean that someone else's style is bad? No. It's just, I think we have to just lovingly accept everybody's way of reading and not make you feel like you're getting thrown under the bus about it. And so that's my belief, is everybody will attract based on the kind of style that they do their reading, and that's why there's different readers. You're going to attract based on who and how you read. I mean, like Sonia said, she's like, if I heard you correctly, very much into the compassion and making people look inside themselves. Well, so do I, and I do it in a different way. And then you're like, here it is. Here's the direct thing. Look at it. So we're all doing the same thing. We're just doing it in a different style of how we provide our information. And that's why some people resonate more with one person than they do with another.
Right, exactly. But Sonia, how do you feel when, how do you deal with clients who come in and they ask you the questions, ask 500 other people the questions, and it's like there's nothing left for your guides or any guide to read on?
Yeah, well, each intuitive, each guide reads from his or her perspective. Wherever you are at, wherever I am at in this moment, when I read from a place of empowerment. I believe in the person's power, and based on that, that's how I read. And when someone asks me a question and then tells me that such and such a person said such and such a thing, I really don't care. It's of no importance to me. I don't go into it. I don't talk about it. That individual has their perspective on reading, on how they read, what they tell you.
Exactly.
The individual, to choose what fits. And I always say you get a bucket full of pebbles, which i.e. all this advice. Some of it will work, others won't, and if you're not sure about the others, leave it in the bucket. So you take out what will work and you use it. What doesn't work, you discard it and leave the rest in the bucket until such time that it will resonate. So they're not all, we're not all wrong in what we do. We just, it's like Yes, the best example is, you tell 6 people to go out and describe the sky, and they'll all have a different perspective of the very same blue sky without a cloud in it. Each one will give you a different perspective. The problem with shopping around is that the client ends up being completely confused to the point where they don't know what to do. And I always, when they get to that point, I always say, just take 2 weeks. Just back off, take 2 weeks. It's because it's an addiction. It's a psychic addiction. It's similar to addiction to whatever it is you choose to be addicted to, chocolates or whatever. Psychics make you feel good. When you go and talk to them, there's this beautiful whoosh of energy that just makes you feel so good. You feel like you're being hugged. And when that happens, you're embarrassed to go back to the same psychic to get some more of that love up energy. So you go to another one and another one. You're not the individual is not actually seeking guidance. They're actually looking for that energy whoosh, that loving up that they go around trying to get. And so, to me, I just say, take 2 weeks, take a break, don't go see anyone else. Just take a break from everything, dissolve it from your system, and when you feel like it, go to the first psychic that appeals to you, and that individual will give you the guidance that resonates with your life. Yeah.
And with me, I'll cut them off. If I see 150 footprints through your living room looking at your boyfriend and your relationship, and you call me 40 times in one day, and I actually had a client ask me, well, what color socks I should wear, that person I'll turn off.
Wow.
She literally asked me what color socks you should wear on a day, and I was like, honey, I am getting this reading right now, and you won't be able to reach me anymore because I will not feed psychic addictions.
Yeah.
It's like I won't deal with people coming and says, I've got this negative energy and blah, 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 and someone said they need to do this for $1,500. I'll go, have you lost your mind? You don't have that. Yeah. If people were cursed as much as they thought they are, or have this gypsy hex on them from 13 generations, or the new thing is they've got an attachment. If I had a penny for every time that in the world that someone had that, actually had it, I might have 10 cents. I might be able to get a piece of bubble gum.
Well, 10 cents is certainly not going to buy you any bubble gum. Not in today's world. Maybe 1940.
Okay. Maybe since 1940. But, I found like that's one of the things that I have to go in and clear up. That's one of those issues that I just can't, go, well, well, if that's what they say. No, I knock that one down real quick. Sonia, what do you do when someone comes in and says, oh, I've got this big negativity, this curse was put on me, this one's working witchcraft against me? How do you deal with it?
Well, it's, first of all, there was a really awesome documentary on voodoo in Haiti. And the documenter guy, the whole thing was very interesting. It was kind of, if you were in that superstitious nature, it would be quite frightening to see how it actually works. But in the end, when he was asked, do you believe in voodoo? He said he's seen voodoo work in that if you're superstitious enough and guilty enough, you can use your fear to hurt yourself. And that's how hexes and whatchamacallits and all that stuff, that's what it is. If someone suggests to you that you've got an entity or a hex on top of you, oops, sorry about that. I got rid of it, and then, oops, wrong one. Oops, I'm sorry. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. Oops. Okay, so I didn't expect my phone to ring. It never does. Okay, so So look at that. Isn't that interesting? So if we end up in a position where someone comes to me and say, I have a hex, someone says I have a hex, usually you might be dealing with someone else's jealousy towards you. And there's an amazing teacher from Greece named Costas, who said that our thoughts have a life of their own when they leave us. The thoughts that you carry, you don't have to say the words, the thoughts that you carry takes a life of its own. If you send it towards someone, it will actually go towards that individual. It'll hit upon their energetic field. And so if you have a negative thought towards someone, it'll go towards them, hit on their energy field, and they'll feel it. Now that person will end up being afraid, and that thought will glance off of them, come back to you faster, and when it comes back to you, it will bring back to you the negative thought you sent, plus the fear that person carried. That's why, first of all, love obsessions seem to get so powerful in an energy, or anger seems to get powerful, is because we're actually creating this vortex of energy that we're sending out. Someone has to stop it, including the person who comes and says, I think someone's hexed me. You need to decide, you know, what is it, why is it so important for you to feel that you're being hexed, first of all, and second of all, if it's not important to you, why are you carrying it? That's my question. Why are you picking it up? Because you walk down the road, there are a million rocks. There's one piece of rock with poop on it. Why do you pick that one up when you could have picked up a clean one? You see? And so that's where people really have to go. Sorry, Aeson, you're laughing.
I love it.
But you know, like, that's
okay.
it. Yeah.
I love it. I love that viewpoint.
Yeah.
But what gets me is these people that aren't readers, aren't psychic at all, running around saying, oh, you've got this on you, you've got that on you, you've got this. Let me have 500, let me have 1,000, let me have 1,500, let me have 87 million. And then, luckily before they do, they call me or they call Sonia. Or I don't know if Angelica, do you get any of those calls, honey? Have you gotten calls like that before?
Angel Rose.
Angel Rose.
I kind of focus in on something else, as we talked about prior to this conversation, where my attention is. So it's not an area that I choose to have a conversation about, to be honest.
Okay. Well, I'll pop back in. I just wanted to include your viewpoint on it. And I'll be like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Fine. If you think you do, go take a shower.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. Epsom salt shower.
Go take an Epsom salt shower.
Yeah.
Get, that way you can relieve it if it's there, but it isn't there.
Yeah.
And guess what? Epsom salt is $1 at the dollar store, and soap, well, you know.
Oh, really? I got to go to our dollar store and find it. It's not that cheap up here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never seen candles worth $1,500. Not even the ones in gold foil. So. We get all different types of questions. We deal with all different types of things. We all have our barriers. Angel Rose only deals with positive information. I don't.
Well, let me clarify that, because I'm kind of sensing some stuff going on around this. It's not that I deal only with positive. I just have a belief that drama is drama. And it's not where I choose to entertain. If people are dealing with something, then my intention is to move it to a resolution rather than feeding the drama with more drama. So I'm not into being around drama queens or drama kings and feeding drama, because they stay stuck in that vibration and continue to attract more drama. My role on this planet, my mission, my purpose, my intention is to create more of a oneness with living a life of joy and love and peace and prosperity and all that kind of fun stuff. You can't live in that healthy environment if you're in a destructive mentality of finding fault and blaming and judging and complaining and moaning and groaning. So if somebody wants to have someone be your therapist, I'm not a therapist. I'm here to provide most appropriate answers to get you to a path that's going to lead you to having the most expansive, conscious, and loving kind of relationship or life that you possibly can. If that's what you're looking for, I'm the appropriate person. If you're looking for a therapist, or if you're looking for someone to dump on, then I'm not the appropriate person. I just don't entertain, and I don't enjoy drama. It's just not my role. It's not why I'm on this planet as an angelic walking. It goes against everything that is my purpose. I'm not judging someone that chooses to have it. It's just not where I'm supposed to be operating from because of my mission and my role. So of course I'm not going to attract. It's funny that I am attracting this kind of conversation with you guys, about things that are drama oriented, but it's not something that I want to continue to entertain in, if I was to be honest. I like talking about positive and uplifting things. So when you walk away, you feel uplifted, not depleted, and that's the kind of experience I want to have when I'm doing a reading. It doesn't make anybody else bad or wrong. It's just we're all here to do different things.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right. We attract the things that we resonate with, as I said before. And each reader or healer reads from their own perspective.
Right.
We cannot, as human beings, and I know that for a fact, we cannot avoid the limitation and heaviness of life, because that's what this human experience is all about. So I don't turn someone away who is in that state, because that person is in the darkness or in the wilderness searching for an answer, and if they bring me their fear, it's my responsibility, at least as I have experienced it, it's my responsibility to be in the energy with them. There's a statement, I want to know if, from Oriah Mountain Dreamer, it's called The Invitation. I want to know if you will stand in the middle of the fire with me and not shrink back.
See, and that's what I love about you, Sonia, because you're more of like a therapist in that sense of helping people in that way. And I think that's so fabulous, where my role is to keep the consciousness at a higher vibration so that they could see more of a different potential rather than going into the muck with them. So that's what I love, is that we all have different ways of supporting people. I don't turn people away. I only say if I don't have a connection and I'm not getting messages, I'm not going to take their money and make something up. And thank God it's only happened one time, where they really weren't even looking for an answer. They just called, and there was just no connection. And so I'd rather come from the integrity of I'm just not feeling a connection, and I don't want to be on the phone call and give you false information. I'm not the appropriate person.
Right.
And
so, Sonia, is there any questions you don't take?
No. I answer all of them. If someone finds their way to me, I have had questions about sexuality. I've had a guy who was in jail walk into my place. Now, if I judged him, he would not have had the healing he did. But he said to me, I did some really terrible things. I did some terrible things. I want my family to forgive me. And I sat there with him in that moment, and he managed to understand that he had to forgive himself first before he could have forgiveness from his family. So Jesus never turned anyone away. So, who am I to think that, you know what I mean?
Right. I don't touch death. I don't touch death with a 10-foot pole. I am not God. I will not answer when someone's going to die. I will not deal with somebody's will. Death in general, I don't deal. Because for me, it's no different. The dead and the living are 3 foot apart.
Mm-hmm.
I never get into that.
you know, I got dumped in the deep end. The universe loves me, so I wasn't gonna do. I was told never tell anybody that they're gonna die and so on, and I got set up. I ended up at this woman's place. I walked through the door. I knew she was dying, and I almost backed up, and I got pushed into the room, and I sat down. And her energy, she's sitting on a chair, and she's literally becoming the color of the chair. And I pulled the cards, and every single card, there was a death card, there was a seven of wands, there was all this stuff came up, right? And I opened my mouth to speak to her, and I burst into tears. Now, I hadn't planned it, but I burst into tears. And I said to her, I can't do the reading. I'm going to go home. I got up, and I walked away from her, and we're in the Sunshine Coast. You hear that train talking? We're on the Sunshine Coast, and they were right on the water. And as I got to go out, way in the distance on the island, I saw this eagle. And I couldn't move. I stood there, and the eagle got up, flew off the tree, came straight at me, looked me in the eyes, turned, and went the other way. And so, you know, I turned around and I said to the woman, okay, I think I have to come back and talk to you. And I walked back, and I was able to tell her what she needed to do to live. You know what I mean? So it was really freaky. It was terrifying, but
bless your heart.
you know, we are guided down the road. I cannot say to the universe, I won't do this, because they dump me in it. Like dump. When I say dump, I mean baptism in the outhouse. Dump. Okay, so big time. Yeah. Well, I think we're just about at the end of our show. Thank you all very much for joining us. This has been a really interesting conversation, and hopefully you come back in again on our YouTube page and listen to it. Or is that channel or page or something like that? The YouTube channel.
And like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, like, share, and subscribe. Please, we need you to just get the message out, send it out to the whole world. I'm on Psychic.biz. I have a show on, when is my show? Next Sunday. I have another one on Tuesday, as I did today. I am Sonia Nadina Haynes. I'm an emotional healer, and I am here to help you move into your power, your absolute full power, which some people call ascension, but it's basically move into your power so you can live your truth. Aeson, your turn.
I'm Aeson Knight. I'm a clairvoyant, a tarot reader, a no-nonsense type reader, but I'm also a Q&A reader. I'm on Psychic.biz. Wednesday nights we'll have the Psychic Coffee Shop at 11, and Miss Rainey will be returning to do the show. She's now the Bionic Woman, but we'll tell you more about that when we get there. And then I have conversations with Aesons on this Saturday at 10 p.m. So, guys, check that out. Conversations with Aeson is a time for you to call me and us actually sit down and have a talk and, you know, figure out some pattern behavior or, yeah, I'm going to talk about pattern behavior, you know, why we keep doing that. And that'll be there. And then, of course, Angel Divine has been in our chat tonight. She didn't feel like coming up on video. That's okay. And she'll be there on Sundays at 10 with Angelic Whispers, and I'm sure she's going to have something powerful this time. And you can reach me over on Psychic.biz. And remember, coupon code Summer16 gets you $5 free, and that's probably about enough for 2.5 minutes, a good question or two with me. Or you can also use coupon code COFFEE and get $10 off a $15 deposit. And Miss Angel Rose, when are you on?
Well, I just love these, how we're expressing how our gifts are coming out. This is pretty amazing. So I'm on psychicbiz.com as well. I'm an angelic walk-in, and so I can see, feel, and hear people's spirit guides. I also see when people die, walk into the light, and so when it's appropriate, I get messages. My role is to help people wake up their inner consciousness and activate their inner spirit so that they come from a place of a higher vibration with their life. So I enjoy supporting people that are really ready to take responsibility for their life and to make appropriate decisions so that they live more efficiently in a happier place in their life. I'm going to be doing my first show with you guys, right? The Psychic the Psychic Coffee on August 25th, which is a Thursday. At what time is it?
7. I think it's 7 our
4
time.
o'clock Pacific time
Yeah.
in the
So 7
evening,
to 6.
and it's going to consist of a meditation. It's also going to consist of a channeled message. I work with these expansive, pure loving beings in addition to the angelic realm, and I channel messages that are very loving and nurturing because I'm proud to say that that's where I come from. And I love working in a higher love vibration, so I'm excited about sharing that with those that are receptive and ready and open. And I look forward to the experience. I also look forward to you coming on Psychic.biz and looking me up and having a beautiful reading and enjoying the experience. So,
When
and
are
thank
you
you.
normally on, Rose?
Well, I'm usually on almost every single day except for Saturday, and so Sundays, you'll always catch me in the mornings or early afternoons on Psychic Biz. And if I'm not there, obviously you could set up an appointment, to have that kind of a reading. If you're really ready to experience moving your life to a different vibration and having a healthy, wholesome type of a life, then I'm probably the appropriate person for you. I do give honest answers, that I do it in the most nurturing way because I'm an angelic, and angelics know pure love. So I'm happy that that's who I am.
Okay. Well, good night, all.
Thank you for
Bye.
joining us. Mwah, 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 mwah.